Hello, and welcome to the Steve and Mark Discuss podcast, where Steve will bring up a subject and I will respond. So, over to Steve.
Hi, people. So, if you're going to go flying in the US, be careful. It's only a matter of time before the aeroplanes will start to fall out of the sky, or as 4 times has happened this year with near misses, they will do a Japanese thing and collide with each other, which has happened in Japan this year. The Federal Aviation Administration has gone woke, and their latest contracting rules for people, according to them, they are looking for totally deaf people to hire, blind people, limbless people without extremities, partially paralyzed people, completely paralyzed people, and epileptics, people with severe intellectual disability. I imagine that to be something like somebody with Down syndrome, I suppose, or from, somebody with psychiatric disability, somebody who's recently had a nervous breakdown and is on their road to recovery. Not forgetting dwarfism. I imagine that since the last Snow White film, the dwarves were sacked. I'm surprised. I reckon that the FAA is wanting to fit them in somewhere else. Now, Pete Buttigieg is the Secretary of the Department of Transportation in the US. So he's openly gay and openly
Progressive.
GLT and the rest of it.
Yeah, progressive. Yeah.
So there's a good chance that he's probably behind this. Alaska Airlines has embraced the idea, and they're putting transgender cabin crew on flights. In the meantime, they're ignoring window bolts, and their windows are blowing out their aircraft as they're in flight. United Airlines CEO Scott Kirby said in a recent interview that they don't look for best qualified people anymore, and they look for people to fill the quotas. This, the equity. And he says that over the next year or so, he's wanting 50% to be the women or minority. The minority, we can look at these examples that I've just given you. So if you see somebody who doesn't have any arms in the airport, it's obviously they can't help you carry your bags. Delta Airlines, excuse my really sense of humor. Delta Airlines asks for black or brown employees whenever they fill out a form to write their ethnicity in all caps, whereas the white employees are asked oriented to write in minuscule letters. For why? I have no idea. They must have their reasons. It strikes me that the airline companies in the US are not doing themselves any favors. The travel industry is still recovering from all the lockdowns. People are still are losing their minds when they are traveling because of the stress, and trying to complicate things as the way the FAA is doing, and the airline companies are doing, trying to do. is only going to be, you know, make a bad situation even worse. I think, you know, when you got somebody who may be inadequate at doing their job, because you're dealing with the public, you know,
Yeah.
no matter what part of your travel experience, you know, you've got an airline staff that's treating you, you know. Some um, conspiracy theorists say that airlines are wanting to, or the government are wanting to ban air travel because of the carbon tax. I know that in France, if there is a train on a short haul flight in France, if there's a train that does the same route as an aeroplane, they have banned short haul flights and told the pedestrians to take the train, let the train take the strain.
Yeah, okay.
So there you have it, sir. That's what we've got coming out of the US this week. One of the many things.
Right.
Over to you.
Okay. Well, obviously the Alaskan Airlines door disappearing had found, yeah, was actually, I wouldn't say amusing, but yeah, a bit troubling. I thought it was funny, the memes that came around later afterwards with all the gaffer tape on the aircraft. Yeah, no, I showed a couple of my clients it and they laughed. They didn't know about it because it wasn't really reported that much in Brazil, funny enough. Yeah, I mean, things go wrong sometimes. Aircraft, I mean, sorry, flying is probably still overall the safest form of transport. Because normally there was all so many different systems that's been developed over so many accidents over so many years to be a very safe system. I mean, it's always surprising when something happens in Japan, given the Japanese love of efficiency and planning. But yeah, anyway. Now, as to be this progressive idea of inclusivity, inclusiveness, it is a yeah, I think it's born out of this ESG, environmental social governance, that a lot of the companies are being, well, like to follow or adhere to or not to. I mean, possibly there for noble reasons. We should care about the environment. We should care about including people into everything. But ultimately, it should be the best person to do a job, suitability. I'm afraid we're not all equal. I would probably make a very, very bad nurse, for example. Yeah, and I accept that. So if I was to suddenly decide to do a career choice, I respect nurses, their abilities, and many of the senior qualified ones. I couldn't do it, and I accept that. And any more than, you know, it's, yeah, suitability for a job. Yes, I'm a reasonably middle-aged, fit, healthy person of reasonable intelligence, I'd like to think. Yeah, that might disclude me from certain jobs. Yeah, my intelligence level may disclude me from becoming a chief executive of a bank, for instance. Yeah, I know I'm not suitable for that. I don't know though. Having seen what's been happening in the past 20 years, I begin to rethink that. But yeah, it's good to have this idea, notion of inclusion, but it's suitability. If I get on an aircraft, I want the best pilot. If I go to a hospital, I want the best qualified doctor. Even in life. I mean, if I do anything in life, if I go to the local padaria, I want a good person who knows how to cook. Oh, sorry, padaria is bakery. Yeah, if I go to a baker's, I like somebody who's competent to bake bread. Not everyone can do that. Yeah, we might think we can, but not everyone can do that. There's a position for everyone in life. Now, if people are disabled, whatever reasons, it's tragic, it's unfortunate, there may be a position within the industry they can do. I'm not suggesting people should be put in an office and made to just do something that's not of interest to them. It could be that a disabled person could be good, ideal for doing a check-in job. Because less and less now that doesn't involve too many physical activities. No reason why not. There is something very strange happening. It doesn't make logical sense always. Yeah, we all feel sorry for people. Unfortunately, life is not always fair. It comes down to that. Nobody should be excluded from a job because of their ethnicity. If they can write, fill in an application form, everyone should be the same. In fact, it should be I honestly believe the recruitment process should be blind. You shouldn't have your picture, any indication on it, even to the point of possibly not even having your name in the early part of the process. Yeah, suitability. That comes up later when they've done an assessment from your CV. Can this person write and covering letter? Yeah.
Like I said, with Scott Kirby, he's got it back to front. He's preferring to hire people on what they are rather than their qualities.
Well,
and you say that flying is the safest form of transport. It is until it's not.
no.
Anthony Blinken went to Davos, and he had to find another aeroplane for him to go back home to the US because there were two failures, one on the motor and one a leak of oxygen on the aeroplane that he was in, and they had to find another aeroplane for him to go back to. And this comes down to the maintenance of the aeroplane. I mean, it goes back to the window flying off the Alaska flight. That was Boeing's problem.
Yeah.
Because after the pandemic, they started to hire willy-nilly, and they had badly qualified people out of desperation to fill the gaps, and that's what you get. Somebody who's not very strong didn't really tighten the bolts hard enough,
Well, yeah, but yeah, there should be a quality check. I mean, yeah, the bane of my life when I was doing installation and maintenance were these people called quality engineers. And we used to have a joke about quality engineers, and I teach some now, and I joke about it. Yeah, I hated it when I was in installation and doing engineering and things, and even anything you write, they will check. That's their job. They're not there to be popular. They're there to do a job. Yeah, I mean, when I say I hated them, I got on all right with them, but yeah, they had to take all personality out of it. And if I did, it was actually quite comforting sometimes to know somebody was there checking, not always my work directly, but if you had teams or somebody there to catch something, who signed the ultimate responsibility.
All it takes is one person who can't concentrate enough, who's lethargic, to let something slip by, and you're done for. That's
why you should have secondary and third checking. I really mean that. I mean, sometimes things are what we call checked to death. Yeah, something went wrong there. They grounded the entire fleet of aircraft. Now, Boeing was always prided themselves on some good quality. I mean, they're making spacecraft now. Yeah.
I think they're busy missiles, sir. But that's another subject.
Well, yeah. But yeah, I mean, we used to joke about quality engineers. When the battle's been won, they come and shoot the survivors, which basically means, yeah, even after it, they say you're not going to fly the aircraft. I found this wrong in it, yeah, or something like that. It is yeah, I don't know what's happening in the world. The lunatics seem to have taken over the asylum and the sub-asylum
Yep.
and the wards. Yeah, seem to be at all
When,
levels. Yeah,
when the guy from United says that 50% of their employees are going to be women or minorities, it isn't a case where you said that you'd sort of get a person who's got at a certain disadvantage and put them into a job they can do. When half your workforce is substandard, I'd say substandard, you know. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm all for people who can do the job to do the job. For example, pilots on average, their IQ is between 110 115.
Yeah,
The latest recruitments have been 80 or 90.
that's about mine.
So,
Yeah.
well, you know, which is why I'd never fly on an aeroplane where you're piloting it.
I struggle to drive along the road in a straight line. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I fell off my bike the other day. Yeah, so
So did Joe Biden.
yeah, yeah. I was doing I was doing a bit faster than he was as well. Yeah, I left some of my skin and stuff on the tarmac as well. Lovely. Yeah, nice topic for a podcast.